Hello there, it's V from Movies Hunter. Buckle up because today we're diving into the wild and crazy world of Where the Crawdads Sing, the drama mystery romance film that had everyone talking in 2022. On October 30, 1969, two young boys were cruising on their bikes through the North Carolina wilderness. They stumbled upon a marsh that would change their lives forever. They found the body of the town heartthrob, Chase Andrews, who apparently took a fatal plunge from a high tower. The boys quickly dialed 911 and the police arrived on the scene. Sheriff Jackson, with his ever-so-serious demeanor, and Deputy Perdue, who couldn't seem to keep his cool, were the first to respond. They could not decide if Chase fell because of a faulty hatch door or if some nefarious culprit was involved. Word spread quickly in town about the mysterious death of Chase Andrews. Everyone was pointing fingers, but the biggest suspect was none other than the Marsh Girl, also known as Kaya. As rumors swirled, Kaya went into hiding, trying to avoid the law. But Sheriff Jackson threw the swamp hot on her trail and soon apprehended her. Kaya is brought into custody and she meets Tom Milton. And Tom, being the charming and suave lawyer that he is, tells Kaya that he needs to get to know her if she's going to help her. Kaya, being the mystery that she is, stays quiet, but with a little coaxing from Tom, she starts to spill the beans and share her story. Flashback to 1952, where we meet young Kaya. She lived with her ma and her four older siblings, Murph, Mandy, Missy, and Jody, and let's not forget their abusive pa. But after living with the abuse for far too long, the family slowly starts to make their escape. Ma goes first, and Kaya chases after her because she just can't bear to be separated. I mean, look at her, she's just a little kid. And before you know it, Murph, Mandy, and Missy follow suit, and even Jody eventually leaves. But Jody has some advice for Kaya. He tells her to go where the crawdads sing, if she ever needs to escape. But Kaya, being the determined and hopeful soul that she is, decides to stay in the hopes that Ma will come back. Kaya spends time with her father, fishing, or as she calls it, bonding with her abusive parent. But every once in a while, he surprises her with a little kindness, like giving her a knapsack. Along comes Tate Walker, a boy who is so kind to Kaya, she starts to think he is a figment of her imagination. Kaya ventures into town where she is greeted with kindness by only two people, the shopkeeper Jimmy Madison and his wife Mabel. Mabel tries to make Kaya presentable, but let's be real, that's a losing battle. Tom, the town's resident friendly face, points Kaya in the direction of the school, but as soon as Kaya enters the class, she realizes that it's not for her. These kids are bullies, and I hate them. Back at home, Kaya finds a letter from her mother, but her father takes it directly and reads it before burning it, so she is left in the dark. And what does her father do? Goes back to drinking, because that's the mature and responsible thing to do, and I'm so mad. Kaya is now left all alone, and it's not the first time. Fast forward to the present day, and the lawyer for the Andrews family is trying to condemn Kaya, who's already been judged and condemned by public opinion and the persistent rumors of her nature. Tom does his best to keep Kaya calm and to prove that there is no evidence to connect her to Chase's death. In 1962, as Kaya grew up, she developed a new hobby of collecting shells and other random things she'd find in the swamp. Then one day, she met the older and wiser Tate. He took pity on her illiteracy and decided to enlighten her by teaching her how to read and write. Tate, being the romantic that he is, encouraged Kaya to send her drawings and writings to publishers because, you know, what girl wouldn't want her love letters published for the world to see? And as they spent more time together, Tate opened up to her about his tragic past involving his mother and sister. Kaya and Tate soon found themselves in love and almost took the next step by the river. But then Tate had a sudden realization that if he slept with Kaya, he might ruin her life even more, so he chickened out. Later on, Tate got accepted into college and was all set to leave Kaya for who knows how long. Kaya was devastated but allowed him to spend one more night with her. And finally, as time passed, Kaya came to resent Tate for leaving her and breaking her heart. In 1965, Kaya's life takes a turn for the interesting when she meets Chase, who is hanging out with his buddies near the water. He saunters up to her all friendly-like, and before she knows it, Kaya and Chase are a thing, and what a thing it is. It's short, sweet, and fun satisfying. But there's more. Chase takes Kaya to the very tower where he will later be found dead. And to remember their brief fling, subscribe to Movies Hunter. Kaya gives him a seashell necklace. That was not a smooth plug, but whatever. Little did she know, this necklace would come back to haunt her in the court case where Chase's death is being investigated. And if that's not enough drama, Kaya also has to deal with some developers trying to take her home. No big deal, right? But wait, Kaya has got this. She sends her artwork to publishers and yeah, her drawings of seashells and feathers get published and she becomes a published author. And the best part, she makes enough money to keep and renovate her house. Just when she thinks things are settling down, Jody shows up on her doorstep. He tells her he joined the army and tracked her down after finding her book. He explains how he lost touch with her siblings and would not even recognize them if he saw them. But the real kicker, Jody tells Kaya that their mother tried to reunite with her children, but Pa threatened to beat them all if she came back. She eventually died of leukemia. Meanwhile, Tate comes back from college, ready to finally catch up with his childhood friend Kaya. But what's this? He overhears Chase, the town bad boy, talking trash about her. Tate is ready to throw down, but good old Jimmy steps in to break it up. Tate tries to visit Kaya, but she's not having it and throws rocks at him until he apologizes and explains himself. Eventually, she forgives him. Meanwhile, Kaya's out and about and runs into Chase. She wants to invite him over for some southern hospitality. But wait a minute, is that a ring on his finger? He is actually engaged. Yeah, engaged to another woman. What a snake. Chase gets angry and confronts Kaya, but she's not taking any nonsense from him. He tries to beat her, but she fights back and gives him a taste of his own medicine. Just as she's about to make a run for it, Chase tries to rape her. Kaya grabs the closest thing she can find, which just happens to be a rock, and smashes it into his face. She runs away, screaming that she will kill him if he ever comes near her again. Little did she know, a witness was nearby and heard everything. This witness later testifies in court, and let's just say it doesn't bode well for Chase. Kaya comes back home, ready to relax. But what's this? Her house is trashed. And who's responsible? None other than Chase, of course. Talk about a dramatic turn of events. Later on, Kaya gets invited to meet with publishers over dinner, which I'm sure was just a coincidence and had nothing to do with her potential involvement in a murder, right? And then we have the courtroom scene where Tom, the charming defense attorney, tries to prove Kaya's innocence by pointing out how ridiculous it would be for her to sneak out of the tower, kill Chase, and come back without anyone noticing. And finally, we have the big finale, where Tom and Andrew's lawyer give their final statement, just in case everyone wasn't convinced yet. And we have Kaya in her cell, awaiting the verdict, chatting with Tom about how the townspeople were mean to her, but she never held a grudge. What a forgiving soul. And then she drops the bomb, telling Tom that she remembers him from her childhood and that he was one of the few kind people she knew. The verdict is in, and it looks like Kaya is off the hook for old Chase's death. I mean, who would have thought that a lack of evidence would actually save someone for once? Mrs. Andrews is sobbing, but Kaya's fans are celebrating because she's finally free. The judge even apologizes for accusing her. And then Kaya and Tate continue their romantic love affair, deciding to tie the knot, or so they say. They start a family, Kaya writes summer books, and they even attend Jimmy's funeral together. Isn't that sweet? As time goes by, Kaya and Tate grow old and great together. And in Kaya's final moments, she takes a peaceful boat ride out into the marsh and sees the spirit of her mother as if she's waiting to greet her in death. Tate finds Kaya dead in the boat, and upon going through her belongings, he discovers a book with a poem that says, "Sometimes for the prey to survive, the predator must die," along with a drawing of Chase and a seashell necklace stained with his blood. Looks like Kaya did kill him after all. In an effort to protect Kaya's legacy, Tate throws the seashell into the marsh and keeps her secret. Mystery solved, and Kaya's reputation remains untarnished. The end, and so this was the story of Where the Crawdads Sing. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna see you the next time. Subscribe!